think of rabbits, you might picture a fluffy pet, a springtime symbol, or a character in a children's storybook. But in China, the rabbit represents something far more significant, an essential part of a booming agricultural industry. Every year, China raises and processes over 500 million rabbits, making it the undisputed global leader in rabbit production. These small mammals are not just bred for meat, but also for fur, research, and export. But how does a fragile and fast-growing creature become a cornerstone of such a massive and highly efficient system? Today, we take you into the fascinating world of modern rabbit farming and processing in China, where tradition meets technology, and every step is designed for maximum quality, safety, and scale. The journey of rabbit farming begins with selecting high-quality breeding stock. Healthy, genetically strong rabbits are chosen for reproduction to ensure the next generation is resilient, fast-growing, and disease-resistant. Farmers typically use two methods for mating: natural mating and artificial insemination, AI. Natural mating is simple and traditional, allowing the animals to mate in controlled environments. However, artificial insemination is gaining popularity due to its high conception rate and ability to produce larger litters consistently. With AI, semen is introduced directly into the female's reproductive tract, maximizing efficiency and reducing the spread of disease. Baby rabbits, or kits, are born blind, hairless, and entirely dependent on their mother. During the first 2 weeks of life, the mother's milk is their only source of nutrition, and rabbit milk is extremely rich, packed with protein and fat, essential for fast growth. To ensure survival, farmers keep a close eye on temperature, humidity, and cleanliness in the nesting areas. Heat lamps or insulated boxes are often used to mimic the warmth of a natural burrow, especially in colder regions. As the kits grow, their eyes open, fur develops, and they begin eating solid food by 3 weeks old. Once weaned, young rabbits are moved into specialized enclosures where their diet becomes a key focus. Modern rabbit farms use scientifically formulated pellet feed designed to promote muscle growth, healthy digestion, and disease resistance. Pellet feed production is a high-precision process involving the careful blending of grains, fibers, vitamins, and minerals. These pellets ensure uniform nutrition, improve feed conversion ratios, and reduce waste. Rabbits grow quickly, most reaching market weight within 10 to 12 weeks. Disease prevention is critical in any high-density animal farming system. In rabbit farms, vaccination schedules are strictly followed to protect against common illnesses like myxomatosis and rabbit hemorrhagic disease. Daily inspections allow farmers to detect early signs of illness, and biosecurity protocols, including foot baths, clothing changes, and sterilization, help keep pathogens out of the enclosures. Some farms even use fire-based sterilization in empty pens to eliminate hidden bacteria. Ventilation systems regulate temperature and airflow, ensuring a stable environment that supports both health and productivity. Once the rabbits reach the appropriate weight, they are transported in large batches to processing plants. There, the animals are humanely slaughtered, often by stunning, and then hung by their hind legs to allow for easier evisceration and cleaning. Internal organs like the liver, lungs, and heart are carefully removed, Some are processed into delicacies or pet food, while others are discarded. The carcasses are then tumbled in rotating drums with spices or marinades, depending on their final use. After seasoning, the rabbits may be air-dried or cooked, then transferred to cold storage rooms to preserve freshness. From the processing plant, rabbit meat is shipped across China and around the world. It appears in supermarkets, restaurants, and bustling street food stalls. In China alone, over 300 million rabbits are consumed each year, a testament to the meat's popularity. Chefs use rabbit in a wide range of dishes, from spicy Sichuan-style skewers to slow-braised rabbit stew, often highlighting regional spices and cooking techniques. These meals not only showcase culinary creativity, but also celebrate a centuries-old tradition of rabbit consumption. Behind every rabbit dish lies an intricate system of science, care, and labor. As demand continues to grow, both in China and globally, rabbit farming is evolving into a more sustainable and technology-driven industry. From the birth of a kit to a meal on your plate, the journey of a rabbit in China is a testament to human ingenuity in food production. It's efficient, complex, and deeply rooted in tradition, yet constantly adapting to meet the world's appetite. If you're fascinated by how something so small can support an industry so massive, subscribe for more behind-the-scenes looks into global food systems. They once carried kings into battle, pulled plows through unforgiving soil, and galloped freely across untamed lands. But today, many of them end up here, inside fenced enclosures, destined not for glory, but for the dinner plate. How did the symbol of freedom become part of an industrial food chain? Why is horse meat still in demand, despite global outrage? And what happens behind the gates of these farms? This is the untold story of modern horse meat production, where tradition, nutrition, and controversy collide. Let's uncover the truth together. For centuries, horses have been celebrated in human history as loyal companions, brave warriors, and tireless workers. From pulling royal carriages through cobblestone streets to charging across battlefields with armored knights, the image of the horse is woven into the fabric of civilization itself. But in recent years, that image has taken a jarring turn. In many parts of the world, horses are now being bred not for riding or racing, but for meat production. This unexpected evolution has sparked global debate. Animal welfare organizations have responded with protests, petitions, and policy campaigns. For them, turning a symbol of nobility into food represents a loss of cultural and moral compass. Yet, the horse meat industry continues to expand, especially in parts of Europe, Central Asia, and Japan. Why? Advocates claim that horse meat is lean, protein-rich, and lower in fat than beef. And in some cultures, it has long been considered a delicacy. Still, controversy lingers. And behind the scenes, the industry operates with a complex combination of modern efficiency and traditional practices. Let's take a closer look at how this controversial commodity is produced. A horse's body is built for movement, strong legs, powerful lungs, and high stamina. To maintain that level of natural energy, horses on meat farms are fed a carefully managed diet designed to maximize muscle growth without fat accumulation. The base of the diet consists of fresh pasture grass or dried hay, which provides fiber for digestive health. But for horses in more active roles, or simply to speed up muscle development, farmers also add grains like oats, barley, and corn to the mix. These grains supply the extra calories needed to support constant motion and growth. In colder regions, where the quality of natural pasture declines seasonally, horses are given mineral blocks and vitamin supplements to maintain joint strength and bone health. The goal: build a well-toned, healthy animal without resorting to chemical enhancers. Unlike factory-farmed cattle or pigs, horses require a more nuanced feeding routine. Overfeeding grains can cause digestive issues, while poor hay quality can lead to malnutrition. On well-managed farms, trained caretakers inspect feed daily, ensuring every horse receives the proper ratio of grain and water. Horses are surprisingly sensitive to extreme weather. In countries with hot summers or bitter winters, the environment must be adjusted to protect their health. Unlike other livestock, horses cannot be bathed too frequently. Washing them more than once every 2 weeks can strip their skin of protective oils, leaving them vulnerable to rashes and coat dullness. Instead, they are wiped down with damp cloths, sprayed with cooling mist, or allowed to roll in the dust, a natural way horses keep clean and cool. In high heat, fans, misters, and shaded shelters are essential. In colder climates, thermal blankets and windproof stalls help retain body warmth, especially at night. Some industrial farms even use temperature-controlled barns to create a stable microclimate for year-round rearing. Unlike many farm animals, horses suffer both physically and emotionally from confinement. Their muscles are designed for long-distance movement, and their mental health declines rapidly when they're penned in. To counteract this, many farms build open arenas or lawn paddocks, allowing the horses to walk, trot, or run at will. In modern facilities, mechanical treadmills are also used, giving horses a controlled environment to exercise even during poor weather. In addition to exercise, horses often undergo light training routines, not for sport, but to develop their responsiveness and reduce anxiety. Trainers may guide them in basic walking drills, obstacle courses, or vocal command exercises. These small touches make the animals easier to handle and arguably reduce their stress in the long run. Stress-free animals not only live better lives, they also produce better meat. It's a harsh economic truth, but one that motivates some farmers to adopt higher welfare standards. Despite the utilitarian nature of horse meat farming, many caretakers form bonds with the animals they raise. Some farmhands speak to the horses daily, groom them with care, and note changes in mood or appetite. In countries with stricter regulations, such as Belgium or Japan, daily logs are kept for each horse, tracking food intake, movement, health symptoms, and behavioral changes. The goal is not just productivity, but also compliance with humane treatment laws. Still, critics argue that no amount of ethical care can justify slaughtering such intelligent creatures. They point to the horse's emotional intelligence, social bonding, and long-standing relationship with humans as reasons it should never be part of a food system. Few foods spark as much emotional reaction as horse meat. In Western countries like the US and the UK, the idea of eating a horse is often considered unthinkable, akin to eating a dog. In contrast, in nations like Kazakhstan, France, and Mongolia, horse meat has historical and cultural significance, often served during major ceremonies or national holidays. This cultural clash has led to global campaigns either banning or defending horse slaughter, depending on the region. In 2013, the infamous horse meat scandal in Europe, where undeclared horse meat was found in beef products, intensified public scrutiny and raised concerns over transparency, labeling, and trust. Today, the issue goes beyond meat. It's about identity, memory, and the role of animals in society. Whether one supports or condemns horse meat farming, one truth is undeniable. Horses deserve respect. They have stood by humans for millennia, offering their strength without complaint. If the industry is to exist, it must evolve. That means enforcing clear, humane guidelines, improving transport conditions, and eliminating abuse at every level of the supply chain. Because of how we treat these creatures, who once carried us to safety, to victory and to new horizons reveals who we are as people. And maybe, just maybe, some things are too sacred to turn into profit. What are your thoughts on horse meat farming? Share your opinion in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown insightful, stay tuned for more deep dives into the world behind your plate. Did you know that the luxurious lobster dish we enjoy today was once considered prison food? From being called the cockroach of the sea to becoming a global delicacy, the journey of Maine lobster is full of surprises. Today, we're diving into the secrets behind every sweet, buttery bite and discovering why the world has fallen in love with this incredible crustacean. Today, Maine lobster is a symbol of fine dining and elegance. But once upon a time, it was anything but luxurious. In the 1800s, lobster was considered cheap and undesirable. Nicknamed the cockroach of the sea, along the rocky shores of New England, they were so abundant that people literally raked them up at low tide and served them in prisons, orphanages, and poorhouses. Why? Because they were ugly, plentiful, and tasted terrible when overboiled without care. But as trains began to carry lobster inland, something unexpected happened. City dwellers, unfamiliar with its bad reputation, tasted it for the first time. With better cooking methods, its sweet, firm meat became a sensation. Lobster was no longer just sea bug food, it became a delicacy. Lobsters have a bizarre but fascinating way of growing. Unlike most animals, they don't expand gradually. They molt. That means they shed their entire hard exoskeleton to grow into a bigger one. It's like having to peel off your bones just to get taller. This process is energy-intensive and dangerous. Their soft, new shell leaves them vulnerable until it hardens. And here's the kicker. It takes a lobster 5 to 8 years to grow big enough to be legally harvested. That's years of surviving in freezing Atlantic waters just for a meal that might be over in minutes. Maine supplies around 90% of the lobster caught in the U.S., pulling in nearly 100 million pounds each year. But for many in Maine, lobstering isn't just a business, it's a tradition passed down through generations. Families along the coast rise before dawn, launching their boats into the cold Atlantic, doing exactly what their fathers and grandfathers did. Lobsters are caught using lobster pots, specially designed traps baited with oily fish like pogie, chosen for its strong smell. There's a saying among fishermen, the stinkier the better, because powerful scents lure more lobsters into the trap. Each set of traps is marked with a unique buoy, essentially a fisherman's signature. This way, everyone knows who owns which trap, and interfering with someone else's pots is a serious violation, sometimes even leading to lobster wars. When traps are hauled in, the sorting begins right on the boat. Anything that's not a lobster is tossed back into the sea. Then, fishermen measure each lobster. If it's too small, under 3/4 inches from the eye socket to the shell's back, or too large, over 5 inches, it goes back into the ocean. Why release the big ones? Because they're the breeders, the grandmothers and grandfathers of the lobster world. And if a female is found carrying eggs, not only must she be released, but her tail is clipped with a small V-notch to signal she's a mama, ensuring she's spared again if caught in the future. Once the legal lobsters are sorted and their claws banded to prevent injury, they're placed into containers filled with chilled salt water. By midday, boats return to shore, where the lobsters are transferred into ventilated crates and sorted again by shell type. Hard shells fetch higher prices than soft ones. At the processing facility, lobsters are placed in massive holding tanks chilled to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. These tanks mimic ocean conditions and can hold up to 100,000 pounds of live lobster. The cold slows their metabolism and keeps them healthy until processing begins. Forget boiling them alive. Maine's most advanced lobster facilities use HPP, high-pressure processing, a cold water, non-thermal method that humanely stuns the lobsters using intense pressure. It's 5 times the pressure at the bottom of the ocean and renders the lobster unconscious within minutes. But it does more than that. HPP also separates the meat from the shell cleanly, increasing yield to up to 90% while preserving the natural taste, texture, and nutrients. No chemicals, no heat, just clean, efficient processing. Once stunned, lobsters are separated into tails, cleaned, deveined, and weighed; claws and knuckles, steamed and extracted by hand; bodies and small claws, steamed and turned into lobster mince for bisque and gourmet soups. Every part is handled carefully to maintain quality and minimize waste. Tails are sorted by size using high-tech grading machines, then sent through a blast freezer using liquid nitrogen. Each tail is coated with a thin ice glaze before being frozen solid in minutes. This locks in flavor and structure so that the lobster tastes just as fresh when it reaches the customer as it did the day it was caught. Claw and knuckle meat is steamed just enough to loosen the shell while preserving sweetness. After extraction, it's checked twice for shell fragments or imperfections. Then it's vacuum sealed and processed again using HPP to extend shelf life up to 18 days. One single facility can produce over 10,000 pounds of premium chilled claw meat every day, an essential ingredient for luxury lobster rolls, pasta, or sushi. Even the tiniest claw meat and lobster bodies are not discarded. They're carefully steamed, chilled, and processed into high-grade lobster puree, a product used in bisques, fillings, and fine dining sauces. Shells are often turned into stock or eco-friendly fertilizer, ensuring that every part of the lobster is honored. From the icy Atlantic to state-of-the-art processing lines, every lobster tells a story of nature, tradition, and technology. Behind each succulent bite is a chain of dedication, from the fishermen battling the waves at dawn to the technicians preserving every ounce of flavor in gleaming modern facilities. So the next time you crack open a lobster tail or savor a claw dipped in butter, remember, you're not just eating seafood, you're tasting the legacy of Maine.